You're listening to the G&D show with Govinda and Dan of City of Bristol College. If you've got any comments or questions for us to read out on the show, then email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Again, that's thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Let's get on with the show.
A good day, everyone. Welcome to another G&D episode with myself, Dan, and of course, the magnificent, the indisputable
Gigi.
Hey! All right. What's going on, people? Welcome. So this week, we have another guest on. Danny Alfarage is going to join us here in the online studio. We don't have a physical space. But what he sparked was a conversation that Gigi and I want to have around self-talk. So we put a phrase of the day here that is going to set the tone of the whole show today. First of all, let's get this phrase in. Positive self-talk is to emotional pain as pain pill is to physical pain. That's from Edmund Mbiaka. So again, positive self-talk is to emotional pain as a pain pill is to physical pain. Gigi, take your explanation away.
Mate, that's a wordy one, isn't it? That one. That's really got me thinking. That is really got me thinking. I suppose what that gets me thinking in my little analytical brain is that our relationship with ourselves has a lot to do with the words that we use for ourselves as well, right? And so for me, this is like, well, okay, I'm not telling you, or Dan's not telling you to be positive, but I think we certainly have a lot of control with some of the stuff we say. And isn't it funny that that quote really reminds me of how words can affect our emotions and therefore have a effect on our neurological, biological body as well as, you know, the way we think and feel about things. So I think that's probably, in my head, that's kind of how it looks. Yeah. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I think what it's leaning to, and what we'll go into more detail on this episode, is that literally the way we talk about ourselves in our head and the way we rewire the thoughts that that impact us in our head really have a great healing process on how we feel. Sometimes we can have a feeling come out of nowhere and we won't realize it's because of a narrative that's actually even popped up in our subconscious that will basically go, this is why you feel this way. And so for us to be able to consciously go, right, let's have a talk about this inside of our heads, we're actually able to soothe the pain and deal with it. I would argue as well, like the pain pill, of course, deals with physical pain in that it doesn't necessarily, you know, close up the wound and stop the wound from bleeding and so on. There's another profession that needs to take over for that to happen. So if you've got an emotional deep wound, then yeah, self-talk isn't going to quite deal with that. However, it will certainly stop it from hurting.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
And that's the important part. It will stop it from being such a painful thing. But you go to a practitioner, a professional, to deal with those big, heavy wounds that we bear.
Absolutely. And it's definitely not cool to ignore them. So, you know, yeah.
Okay. So that's really set the tone for this episode. But Gigi and I really wanted to dive into self-talk because it's a huge part of personal development. It's kind of one of the foundations. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, one of the foundations.
From day one, we picked this up, didn't we?
Yeah. And it is effectively, if you are really looking to turn your life around for the better, or at least get the things you want in life, then self-talk wants to be the bedrock of how you start doing that. And of course, self-talk does exactly what it says on the tin. It's how you talk to yourself. And it happens on a multitude of levels that I don't know if we're going to get through all of them today, but we certainly want to touch base with some of the surface level ones and then the subsurface level ones so that you can at least go away with a kind of basic level of practice you can start activating in your life to begin that process, right? So I don't know, like, do you want to just go away with your explanation, or shall we just back and forth this one, actually?
Let's back and forth this one. I think this is a topic that's quite fun to talk about and also very applicable very quickly.
Yeah.
Its application is pretty easy to do.
Okay.
Once you get the gist of it.
Okay. So actually, first of all, would you say that your self-talk, Gigi, is like visual, or is it very much an audio experience for you?
God, Dan, you know what? This is why I love working with you. I love those curious questions. I would say, without a doubt, I would say that they are bordering more on the visual. And
Okay.
I'll tell you why. A couple of years ago, well, not a couple of years ago, but for a long time, I've always been a tennis fan, right?
Mm.
And I've always looked at the best tennis players, and I thought, well, what's their secret? You know, I'm not necessarily saying their talent, but just in terms of that mindset, right? Because we
Mm.
all know about sports psychology now, right? We've cottoned onto the tricks that people use now, which is fantastic. And I was like, well, what does it make to because I saw average athletes, right? And I don't want to mention them because it's not appropriate, turn into world class Wimbledon winners over a period of time, right?
Mm.
And it had nothing to do with their abilities; they were gifted. So I delved deeper and I found actually self talk's a big part of their plan and their routine and the build up to a match, but also their self talk is mostly visual.
Mm.
So there's I don't want to use the word affirmations because they're overused, but yes, they use affirmations, but they also positively look at the outcomes and also mentally prepare in the event that something doesn't go right, that they're not going to melt down and allow all these negative ideas and self-talk, for example, to take over, because that's
Mm.
essentially what happens in that moment.
Mm.
So visual is definitely my preferred method. Yeah.
Nice.
How about
Yeah.
yourself, Dan?
Oh no, for sure. Same. I found it really easy, and actually for the listener now to kind of get into the grips of what we're discussing. We're doing this all the time. We're constantly
Mm.
talking to ourselves. We always are. And actually, it's almost funny when people say, "Oh, I talk to myself all the time. I'm weird." Like, no, you're not. You're really not weird. Everyone talks to themselves. We all have those moments where we're in the kitchen or in the living room, we're walking through college, and we're just having a little conversation with ourselves. Sometimes we actually speak to it. That's fine. But actually, what's happening is we're verbalizing the very conversation that we've got going on in our mind 24/7. Now, the difference being that when you're practicing self-talk, you're taking ownership of that language, of that talk that's going on, nattering away in the background of your head. You're now taking ownership of it. And the reason I asked Gigi whether or not, it's visual or audio based is because when I started practicing it, what I would do is I would actually create a room in my mind. And actually, the best way to describe it is if I was in any kind of minor crisis, right? Or sometimes even a big crisis, actually, more larger crisis today as I've practiced it more. If I'm in a crisis of any type, I would create a room in my head, right? And I would sit that whole crisis person in my head down at a table, and I would go to them as though I was the, more mature, responsible, let's say, more in control Dan. And I would look at that crisis Dan and I go, right, and talk to them, not look down on them, not belittle them, talk to them eye to eye, because that's still me I'm talking to, and go, right, what's up? What's bothering you? And let the intuitive emotions that I'm feeling speak to me inside my own head. Like, oh, I'm mad. Okay, what are you mad about? I'm mad because, let's say, someone made a horrible comment about me on, on social media or whatever, right? Let's say an example. All
Mm-hmm.
right, why is that bad? Oh, they shouldn't be able, it sucks. Why should they be able to say that? I want to do something back to them. Okay, fair enough. Sure, someone said bad thing about you. Why do you think saying something back is going to make it better? Well, because, you got to give what you get and da-da-da. All right, that's an interesting way of looking at it. But what do you actually get out of this interaction? Because they're just going to come back at you, and it's just going to turn into you wasting your time. So tell me, what exactly is it that you feel is really going to be the best decision for you to make? You're mad, yes, you're allowed to be, but what's actually the best decision? Oh, I guess I just got to leave it, right? Yeah, maybe you're just upset because your ego's hurt a little bit because some stranger on the internet thinks they can talk nonsense about
For
you.
sure. Yeah.
That's it. And it's amazing how you you can literally bring yourself down many levels of temper just by going through what actually is a 10-second conversation inside your head. Like, that's an example of self-talk in a like a real basic practice. And you can do it again when you're trying to encourage yourself. Hey,
100%.
I want to achieve this thing, but it's difficult. Why is it difficult? Oh, because da 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 da. Well, what exactly are you doing it for? Why don't you remind yourself why you're doing this? Oh, yeah, I suppose. Okay, the only way is to get started, one step at a time. Come on. the self-talk becomes easier the more coaching tools you have access to, and the more therapeutic tools you have access to. But literally, that's exactly it. It is literally talking to yourself. But I think the important part is you're either talking to yourself as kind of two identities, which can be easier because when you separate yourself from a characteristic, you're able to identify that the issues or challenges or opportunities that characteristic has as you, or yeah, you see yourself all as one person, which I guess you can also do. But I like to separate myself into different identities because I am a multitude of different people. I'm happy Dan, sad Dan, angry Dan, frustrated Dan, cool Dan, peace Dan, all of these different people. So I like to talk to them as though they are different people so that I can isolate their challenge or opportunity and talk to them in that fashion.
Absolutely. But by virtue of you doing that, there's less of a fragmented Dan, though, isn't it? Because you've allowed space for all of those.
Yeah, I've allowed space for many different personalities that I can have at any time. Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, that's how I visualize it. By the way, so that's how I do it.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I talked about intuition and stuff like that. But I don't know. Do we want to go into? I mean, that feels like very much the surface level of self-talk. But let's see if we can go to a bit more of a subsurface level and discuss any of that at that level, at that plane. So I'll kick this off. With a question, I suppose, how would we identify what is a subsurface level self-talk conversation?
Perhaps probably is best to look at our audience and some of the subsurface level self-talk that might come up for them and give an example, right?
Yeah.
For example, suffice to say, there might be people out there, and I always pick on the maths lot, so I'm really sorry about this.
No, I think that's a fair place. I think that's fair.
It's suffice to say, maybe it's because my own childhood as well, but I see this often come up, right? So, me and you are strong advocates of doing what you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
But also that requires a level of responsibility from our part and sensitivity in that our audience cannot do that yet because they have to experience stuff. So this is a very subsurface level way of looking at it. There's often people out there who will say to me, already it's happened here, look, I absolutely hate maths. I have no talent or skills in maths. I'm rubbish at maths. I hate maths. Now that is, believe it or not, that is a prime example of a very subsurface, negative self-talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Because actually the person has no choice right now in that. And actually what they're trying to do is use that maths or whatever subject it is at GCSE level to use that as a vehicle to move on to the next stage, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do is, especially in my coaching and also in the other subject workshops, which we'll all see together, is that I get people to make a list down, and it depends. It depends on the person. Some people just want to go with more lofty ideas, but I keep it very basic to begin with, so they can walk with something and it's easy to digest, and they can assimilate and use it. So come up with a list of all negative self-talk or just self-talk in general that gets in your way. It starts to irregulate your stress hormones in a certain way. It makes you feel really bad about yourself, and then look at that, read it out to yourself, right? And then get a red pen, put a line through it, and then right underneath it, rephrase that. Rephrase it to a point where actually it doesn't feel that stressful and it isn't a problem. So you're looking at the situation from a fresh pair of lenses. It's less instinctual, it's less to do with the reptilian part of the brain or fight or flight, because at the end of the day we are talking to young teenagers who are still developing, and it's very important that us as professionals really stimulate the more calmer side of their brain, which is the vagus nerve. And I think that really helps with logical thinking. It's a step to get you to do better self-talk. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, thank you. So actually you touched on it quite nicely, is that when we look at subsurface self-talk, what we're looking at is we're talking about things, and you've got to be good at this in a way, or you've got to be good at this. You gotta get practice at this, is spotting when you get messages fired into your mind that feel like they came from nowhere. And I catch them now. And what's great is I catch these things that come into my mind when I'm not in a good mood. I've had this actually. So when I was quitting nicotine, and I'd have those days where I was a bit challenged. And I was a bit like when I was sending Gigi the voice notes, getting all riled up. I know there were moments when my mind was sending me some horrific thoughts about myself. Right? some stuff like, you ain't gonna quit, you're useless, da, da. But I would catch these thoughts coming into my mind, and I'd almost smile because I'm like, yo, my mind's really trying to do me in right now. Like that's a subsurface thought that if I don't catch it, I will accept as true. And next thing you know, I've gone from someone who's trying to make their life better to someone who genuinely thinks of themselves as literally worthless because my own mind, from its own emotions, has produced a thought that's fired into the front of my head. When actually there's nothing that actually says that that's true. Nothing that says that's based in any form of evidence. Nothing.
No.
It's literally just a thought that has gone bang right into the front. Now, obviously, there's a level beneath that, but we don't actually have time to go into that. But what I'm speaking to is if you listen to what you're thinking a lot of the time and just track it, get into a habit and a pattern of thoughts of what you're saying to yourself, and then practice that self-talk to make it more positive, you're also going to be able to spot when your mind is literally just telling you some foolishness, lies about yourself, and you laugh at it. And that's what I find I do. If my brain fires something into my head and goes like, oh, you ain't nothing, man. I'll kind of be like, whoa, why are we being so horrible about ourselves, Dan? What happened? Are we really in that bad a mood? Damn, okay. I better do something to pick myself up because I'm telling myself some foolishness right now. Like, this isn't okay. This isn't who I am. So I catch those thoughts and yeah, it makes me laugh. And it actually motivates me to make more positive decisions for myself in the moment, because I realize that if that's what's firing into my brain at that point, I'm not doing, I'm not participating in something that fuels me or fills me up. And I try to maintain consciousness of that. So yeah, you can be conscious of like stuff that happens immediately in your life and go, yeah, I feel bad because this thing just happened. But maths, I'd love the fact you picked up maths, because maths I find triggers some of the most negative emotions because it's so immediate and it's so visceral in the way that people experience math problems. And I think there's a conversation to be had around, exactly what, how people teach maths as well. But I know that a lot of people do struggle with maths, and it brings up a lot of sensations, a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of negative emotions. And it's unfortunate that so many of us have jumped to a very negative place because of maths. So actually what I will say then, just as Gigi said, so Gigi actually pointed out to the very exercise that you can do when this happens, is when you come to a math problem, spot what you're thinking. Just think about what the exercise is, think about what you think about. Just map it. Write it down if you need to. Make note of all those things. And then reframe them, just like Gigi said.
Correct. Absolutely.
Just like you said. Because that's going to be a great step in rewiring.
In fact, you can do this, whenever you want. It's that easy. Hi guys, it's Gigi and Dan, and we just want to say that if you want one-to-one coaching with us, you may do so. They're an hour session and they are available online. Dan, could you very kindly give them the email, because I'm terrible at emails?
Yes, I can. It's thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Send us an email over there. And of course, we will endeavor to arrange a one-to-one conversation with you and begin that process of bettering your life.
And also, if you are a teacher, you may use that same email as well if you want to refer one of your students over.
Or if you want to access our services, mind.
Oh, yeah. That's open as well. Right. So on today's podcast, we have Danny Alfraj on. And so, Danny, I've got a set of questions to ask you. The first question is, who are you? And that could be literally your role, or even in a philosophical way.
Yeah. Well, as you said, I'm Danny Alfraj. You might start picking up from my accent that I am Bristol born and bred. My role within the college is that I am head of foundation and community learning. And that kind of covers quite a lot of different things. So I've got a large cohort of 16 to 18 learners who are on level 1 courses. Now, sort of the vocational subjects that they cover is everything from animal care to catering to motor vehicle, hair and beauty care, construction. I also oversee a lot of the Prince's Trust courses. So we've got a Prince's Trust team program, We've got the Achieve course as well. And on top of that, I've got a whole adult cohort as well. So the adult groups that I oversee include ICT, community development, and volunteering. And sort of new to this year, which is sort of I'm excited by, was we've put on a lot of ESOL and vocational courses as well. So kind of like a stepping stone. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do. I oversee that. I spend a lot of time looking at spreadsheets. I spend a lot of time looking at data. So I've had to get glasses this year for the first time ever. So yeah.
Oh,
That's amazing.
I nearly had to get glasses this year. It turns out my brightness was just too high on my monitors. That's all it was. Okay, so you kind of answered some of the questions I had, some of the question that I had, but I'm going to ask you actually to go into a little bit more detail, Danny. Like, if you could identify some activities that you do in your job, because you mentioned, you sat in front of computers and stuff, and then you talked about the cohorts. What are some of the things that you actively partake in your role at the college?
Yeah, so one of the most important parts of my role is the sort of curriculum planning and design. So sort of before the start of any year, you look at the number of courses that you want to deliver, the subjects you want to deliver, where in the city they're going to be as well. And I think that's really important. So that's kind of looking at the sort of demographics of areas as well, and kind of responding to where the need is as well. That kind of links in a lot where we identified the new ESOL and adult vocational courses, and we identified there is a huge gap where those who say English isn't their first language really need a starting point or a stepping stone into certain vocational subjects. And it kind of means that actually they may have the skills, but the vocabulary to support that may not be sort of there yet. So we're looking at supporting there. So once I've got then my overview of the curriculum of what I want to do, it's then the sort of day-to-day stuff with it. So it's making sure that we've got the right lectures in the right places, that learners are supported and we can help with the overall experience for learners. I'm a very big believer in that. Actually, a better experience for a learner, the more likely they're to return or come back in the next day. Yeah, and then as I said, the day-to-day stuff of sort of line managing staff. I've currently got about 18 members of staff that I line manage as well. In terms of numbers for learners across the whole cohort with adults, we're probably pushing to around 300 learners as well. So yeah, quite a busy person, really.
Sure. So of course we have to say thank you so much for giving us your time right now. Thank you so much.
Creep.
So go on, Govinda. Continue with the next one.
Yeah, I got one more question for you, Danny. I promise this is the last one. Yeah, it kind of feels like the Spanish Inquisition, doesn't it? All these questions. So tell us about the challenges that you've overcome and advice around how that'd be helpful for some of our students listening to this.
Yeah. It's as I said right at the beginning that I'm Bristol born and bred, and for me, I grew up in a little known area called Hartcliffe, which is in South Bristol, and the interesting thing for me was I probably saw a lot of struggles that people have sort of faced firsthand. I've sort of lots of different challenges, and that might include sort of living in an area that is high levels of poverty and crime and drug abuse or low educational achievement. And some of the biggest challenges that I think I sort of faced as growing up was that sort of discrimination of sort of focusing on kind of stereotypes of a person from a set area. So as I said, from a person living and growing up in Hartcliffe, I may have come across different people from different areas, and it was kind of almost like it was looked down upon, and so that's always kind of pushed me and filled me with determination. Is actually it doesn't matter where you're from or where your start in life may be. Is if you've got that sort of willingness to push yourself, and almost prove to other people that it doesn't matter where you're from or what your background may be, that if you've got the right mindset, you can push forward and be successful. And I think that's the thing for me, which I always try and speak to students about and always encourage. And when I work in South Bristol as well, when I see these sort of learners, I think it's very good that I can relate to a lot of people as well, and sort of show, not, I don't want to sort of get a big head here, but I'm just sort of saying it's kind of, you look at those aspirational role models and stuff, and I'm not saying I'm that, but it just gives you a good example of, it doesn't matter if I'm from Hartcliffe or if I'm from Knoll, if I'm from Southmead or whatever it may be, that you can actually still push and achieve, and you don't have to go down a certain route that maybe your parents have gone down, or in terms of the type of job that you want to do. So I've always really wanted to have an influence in education. So yeah, that's the thing.
That's brilliant. Nonetheless, though, it's still a success story, though, isn't it, Danny? Wouldn't you say so?
I think so. Yeah. So maybe I should big myself up. Yeah, I think so.
No. Okay. Well, no. Govinda and I will do it, because clearly it's what Govinda's thinking and I'm thinking. Is you obviously don't want to see yourself as kind of the person to look up to or anything, but we'll happily say you're absolutely an example. You're an example of success when the odds are stacked against you. You're an example of putting yourself aside and understanding individuality over categorizing, pigeonholing people, and how that's allowed you the fluidity of thought and experience to put you in a position of authority, you know, in a position of solidarity and comfort and stability. So yeah, we'll say it for you, man. Don't worry about it. You're a credit. Yeah. You're a credit, mate.
Thank you. But also, I think as well, but in a position to kind of influence what we offer and deliver, and sort of trying to bridge gaps as well. So yeah,
man, absolutely.
So Danny, one more thing quickly, because I'm obviously being mindful of the time. For our listeners who are, you know, going listening to this, for lack of a better word, would you have any wise words for them in terms of, you know, like, because, you know, Bristol, as you said, is very diverse, and it doesn't really matter what neighborhood you're from. I think you go beyond that, don't you, where you identify too much with a neighborhood. But, you know, in terms of you being a success story, what would you suggest for, you know, some of our listeners?
Yeah, I'd probably say something that I've always had in my mind was never burn a bridge. And that's because you never know when somebody from your present life or maybe the past may come in handy in the future. And it's often not what you know, but who you know. So it's having those links, sort of continuous links around the city. So
it's a brilliant way of looking at it.
That's really good. Nice. All right, we're going to take that one. Thanks, Danny. We'll take that one. Don't burn any bridges. And I'm sure Govinda and I will absolutely have stuff to talk about on that one.
Yeah.
Because I know a bridge or two. When you said it, you got me thinking about specific events, and I was like, oh yeah. Oh, don't bring that up, man. I'd never go down that bridge. It's gone forever. Yeah, man. Absolutely.
True, isn't it?
It is. It's terrible. All right. Well, thanks for answering the questions, Danny. We segue now into the next bit, which I'm really excited about, and I think maybe you are too, Danny. I think you are.
Yes.
Because you actually you got some ready.
I've planned. Don't worry, I've planned to.
All right. Okay. Gigi, do you go first? Throw yours down first for Danny, and then I'll go, and then Danny, you give yours to us. All right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Here we go.
Okay. Do you know what? I've got so many in my head. I need to stick with one, and I need to be mindful that I haven't used this one already. You know. Okay. Right. Would you rather, Danny? This is a really, really cheeky one, but I'm going to ask: would you rather have solid foods for the rest of your life, or have liquids?
I rather have
liquids.
Yeah,
I love it.
100% solid foods. 100%.
So you're not down with that smoothie life, are you?
No.
Right.
No. When people put ginger in smoothies, no thank you.
Oh no. That's no.
Oh man. Okay then.
I know that was pretty brutal, but Yeah.
I quite enjoyed that. I wasn't expecting that at all. Basically asking, would you rather have a roast or soup for the rest of your life? No, that's it.
Yeah, but listen. There's an advantage in a slightest way. Even if you do go down the whole liquid route, technically you can have anything you want. You can liquidize your roast chicken and drink it.
No, completely wrong on all levels. No.
You've brought up a story that I need to share right now regarding that. Because when I was 19 years old, so I was older than I should be before I knew this. This is a lesson in life, people. This is how you learn through mistakes, all right? This is how you learn through errors. So I was living abroad by myself, didn't have any parental figures overlooking me or looking after me. And I really wanted chicken soup, okay? I had no idea how to make chicken soup. Danny's face has already said exactly. He knows exactly where I'm going with this. I didn't know how to make chicken soup. But what I do know is that soup is wet and chicken is chicken. So what did I do? I boiled a chicken breast and I put it in a blender. Yeah. And then I proceeded to put that into a bowl, seasoned it, and thought that would be okay to eat. No. I'm gonna tell yeah, with what Danny said 1,000 times. I'm gonna tell everyone, don't ever do that. Ever. ever do that. Ever. Liquefied chicken is one of the most disgusting things I might have ever tasted in my life. Yeah. And the texture alone. So yeah, no, liquefied roast, maybe, because gravy, let's be honest, stuffing, maybe. But on its own,
yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't.
That's him, Danny's reaction. Bless him.
Let that be the takeaway from this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Okay, so my would you rather is, yeah, I don't know if you want to look into this too much or not. It's up to you, Danny. Would you rather be a pair of trousers or a skirt?
Oh, would I rather be a pair of trousers or a skirt? Right. If I was thinking of comfort, all right, I'd say a skirt.
All day, mate. All day.
All right.
100%.
If I was being practical, trousers.
Okay.
Because I can put stuff in my pockets. I can carry it around. I can carry around my liquidized chicken if I want. Yeah. So okay. I would say, but I probably prefer comfort. So a skirt, I would say.
I was going to push to get one of those. So
skirt, yeah.
Comfort and skirt, yeah. Because you don't have any liquefied chicken to carry around anyway.
Yeah. No, never, ever.
Amazing. Okay, then. Okay. So it's your turn now, Danny. Hit us with it.
All right.
And we both got to answer. Gigi, you're
first. You take it in turns for answering, okay? Yeah. I guess I've got a few that we could ask, and I'll start off one with that's linked into a little bit kind of food. Would you rather only be able to use a spoon for the rest of your life, or would you rather only be able to use a fork for the rest of your life?
Dan's really given this a good thought, isn't he?
I went full thinker pose, didn't I? I sunk my whole chin into my hand. Oh.
Yeah.
I really did.
Danny, I'm going to give you an answer straight away. I think from a versatility perspective, I'm going for fork.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even know how. I don't even think that is versatile, really, is it?
No. Yeah. What about soup and stuff like that?
Forget it. I just got my blender.
What about the chicken, man? What about the blended chicken, though, Govinda? What you do? That's why I'm going spoon, because I can fork things with a spoon, but I cannot spoon things with a fork. And that's a quote. Quote me on it. Dan Holley, 2021. Take it. I can fork things with a spoon, but I cannot spoon things with a fork. Yeah. And so I will pick spoon. I'll pick spoon. I'll take that one for sure.
You both went for spoon. See, I'd probably go for fork.
Okay.
No, I did. I went for fork, Danny. You know I did.
No, you did say fork.
You did say fork. Yeah, I'm up my own here with my spoon.
Yeah. All right, I've got another one.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, all right.
Okay. Right. This one. Would you rather give up bathing and showering for a month, or give up the internet for a month? So would you rather give up showering and cleaning yourself for a whole month or give up the internet for a whole month?
I'll give up the internet.
Take the internet away. Take it away. Get away from me. If you're telling me I'm going to smell on the internet, oh, people could probably smell me through my own comments. No, man, I'm good. I'm not.
But how would you stay connected at this current time now?
I don't want to be connected, man. I want to smell fine. I don't disconnect me. No. Oh God.
Yeah, I'd rather not smell like musk for a whole month.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to. No, I don't want to be. I don't want to be standing up and still smelling the parts of my body that don't see the sun.
Yeah.
Like that's not while I'm browsing the internet. That's not a life I want to live ever. So hell no. Take me off the internet, man. Cut me off. I'm done out here.
Yeah.
Virgin Media, take a break. I'm good.
Oh my God.
No.
Yeah, just the thought of it. No, I'm in agreement with both. I would definitely give up the internet. Yeah.
Absolutely not. I like how you try to push this up, but how are you going to stay connected, guys? Huh?
Yeah.
You tried. No, friend. No. Give me that personal hygiene and moisturizing. Thank you very much. No. Oh, yuck. Oh, man. Gigi, have we got anything else to ask or talk to Danny about?
I don't think so, but it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here, Danny. I think we hit it on our first day, didn't we? All three of us meeting each other. So yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on here. Yeah,
no, appreciate it, and thanks for sort of inviting me and listening to me as well. It's good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Mate. Anytime. All right, well, it's goodbye from all of us then. Ta-ta for now, peeps.
Yeah. Laters.
Hi guys, it's Gigi and Dan again here. I just want to briefly talk to you about how you can book our workshops online during COVID. So me and Dan run two separate workshops, both delivered online. Dan does them every
Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4 p.m.
Fantastic. Whereas I am a little bit more flexible, where I basically just do workshops according to your timetable. So that will be put into your college timetable schedule. So whatever lesson you have and whoever it's booked by. Dan, may I get the email off you, or can you share the email, I should say?
I will indeed, yes. The email you're looking for is thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Send an email over to us and get those group sessions booked in.
Right, so the next segment on the podcast is our favourite, Would You Rather? So, Dan, I'm going to get straight to it. I'm going to ask you, would you rather? And now, unfortunately, it's not as exciting as my previous ones, but I still want to ask you.
Unbelievable. Okay.
I know, the nerve, right? So my question for you is, would you rather be Batman or Superman?
Oh, mate. Okay. Oh, mate. This is a lame way to answer this, because... No, it will be a lame way to answer this. I'd rather be Batman, primarily because the video games I played of Batman are just bar none. In fact, I don't even remember. I don't think there is a video game out recently for Superman, and I don't think there needs to be. I think that just kind of feels a bit pointless. But Batman's cool. Batman is cool.
Yeah,
there is something about Batman that I don't like, and I really, really don't like. But I don't need to get into it. I don't need to get into it here. But yeah, there's something about Batman I really, really don't like. But I would still rather be Batman, Superman, because Superman. Actually, this is what it is. Superman has got to be the most vanilla ice cream superhero of all the superheroes ever. The name alone is Superman. Like, he's so dull. Yeah. Just dull. I can't think of anything more dull.
And it's a little too perfect, isn't it?
Oh God, he's so boring. Like super. Bleh. So no, Batman. At least he's a bit dark. He's got some edges.
Yeah.
He's rough around the edges. He's and actually the cartoon series Batman was total G.
I remember that. That was fantastic.
Batman was awesome in that. Yeah. Superman was far too. He's so vanilla.
Joker was fantastic in that cartoon series as well.
Yes, exactly.
Really good.
Yeah. I'd much rather.
And Arkham Asylum. That's
what I mean. No, Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, phenomenal. So yeah, Batman, hands down.
Good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. What about you?
Yeah, Batman. He's my favorite superhero. Only because he's not actually a superhero. He's actually a detective. And I like that.
Fair. Yeah, good. There you go. That's true. Actually, you're right. Yeah. Actually, yeah. That's. I just want to say that's exactly what I don't like about Batman. Is he's not a superhero. He's just really rich. That's all it is. He's not actually a superhero. He's just a really, really super wealthy detective. So yeah. Okay, cool. All right then. Next, this one's for you, mate. Okay. Would you rather live for 20 years knowing everything, or would you rather live forever knowing nothing?
Ooh, what a difficult one that one is. I'd say 20 years and know everything. I think the other one would be more frightening to me than anything. So yeah. That's a difficult one though. Yeah, but I'm going to go 20 years knowing everything.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it's we're capable of doing it, I think that's a better option than not knowing anything and living.
Do you know what's fascinating?
This
is what I love. This is what I love about technology. Is my phone apparently thought I was doing a Hey Google, so it actually brought. I'm not joking. It literally brought up the question from Quora: how many years would it take for a human to learn everything there is to know?
And what's the answer?
Serious answer. I don't believe any human can learn everything there is to know in a single lifetime. True. You need to, and I agree with that. You need to live longer than a person can live. And obviously that my would you rather is hinged off of the fact that you wouldn't be able to learn everything. And even if you live forever, you wouldn't come to learn everything because things continue to change and evolve and so on and so forth. Old information would become redundant and obsolete to make room for new information. You just couldn't.
It's a good point, actually.
In fact, oh my God. So we've got 1 minute left. And actually, this is fascinating. So there is a replication crisis taking place in the science community. When I say science community, I'm talking psychology, chemistry, biology, And this crisis is presented. This is going to change. This is in fact, screw the timer. This is actually really important. This is genuinely so important. I'm not going to run over too much. I just remembered this. So you know how for science to be really, truly, embedded in any form of truth, if you like, or fact or conclusion, it needs to be replicated. It needs to go, right, we've done this test. This is what it shows. Let's do it again, right? Let's run the test again to see if it produces the same results so that we can say, yes, this is actually the pattern that's forming. What is happening is in the field of psychology and chemistry, biology, and so on and so forth, they're replicating a lot of studies that we've been talking about for years and years and years and years. We're talking the Stanford prison experiment, right? We're talking the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? We're talking, oh God, so many others. The power pose, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the power, if you stand in a power pose, increase your confidence. They're replicating these studies and they are not producing the same results. So we've got to be very careful about some things because the reason this is apparently one of the reasons this is a problem is because, not surprisingly, these studies were all run with a very particular participant type. It wasn't a very diverse pool of participants.
Okay.
So now they're doing this experiment again and they're not producing the same results. I don't know about the Stanford prison one. I don't think that ethics suggests that should never be done again. And that's just a horrible experiment, to be honest with you. I think it's Stanford Prison. I can't remember what it's called, but you know what I mean? Do you know the one?
Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah. So, that's actually, I just wanted to put that in there because that means that a lot of what we do and why we do things the way we do them is about to change. Maybe, I don't know, in the next decade or two, but still, that's massive. That's really, really big. Yeah. That's right. That's it. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to leave it there.
Brilliant.
Fascinating. Right then, so thank you very much for listening to this episode. If you have any comments or questions, then please do obviously forward them over to us. Email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. That's thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. And Gigi and I can read them aloud on the podcast by all means, and we'd love to. But it is goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from Gigi.
Fantastic. You guys have a wonderful week ahead of you. Take care. Goodbye.
You've been listening to the G&D Show. Thank you very much. If you've got any comments or questions, Or if you're a student at City of Bristol College and you want some one-to-one conversations with myself or Govinda, then please do email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in another episode.